The first shot came without warning. Men hit the dirt. Water rippled crimson at the river's edge. And in the chaos of splintering wood and shouts, the SEAL team's whisper turned desperate. Who's firing? Where's the shooter? No one could answer. The jungle pressed close, heavy with heat, and the river moved slow and silent, its current carrying secrets. Every soldier's eyes darted to the tree line, to the cliffs above, to the horizon where smoke coiled upward. But the fire hadn't come from there. It had come from the water. And from the water, something began to rise. A figure, half-drowned yet deliberate, pushed up through reeds and river grime. His rifle broke the surface first, black steel glistening under the merciless Sunday. Then his face painted in mud and shadow, scarred by both time and battle. His breath was steady, his silence heavier than any roar. In that moment, he wasn't just a soldier. He was vengeance clothed in patience. The SEALs froze, recognition dawning. This was no ordinary man. This was an Avenger who had waited, hidden, unseen. And now, he had risen. His name was Marcus Hale. A sniper once etched into the rosters of America's quiet wars, now erased from most records, living between shadows and whispers. His body bore the wreckage of a dozen campaigns, scar tissue lacing his shoulders, a limp buried deep in his stride, eyes that never truly rested. Civilians saw only a tired veteran at the edge of town, one who moved with silence and kept to himself. But those who had fought beside him knew the weight he carried. Brothers lost in deserts, friends buried beneath hostile soil, a wife who had left when the wars would not leave him. Every morning, he woke with the taste of gunpowder still clinging to his mouth. Every night he sat in silence, staring at photographs that no longer smiled back. Yet, in his silence, Marcus carried something unbreakable. The creed of those who endure when no one is watching. We are measured not by noise, but by what we protect in silence. Years before, Marcus had been the unseen hand for his platoon. The man who crawled belly deep through mud for days just to line up a single shot that would save a convoy. He was the one who stayed awake in freezing outposts, while others rested, scanning horizons for a glint of steel. He'd once saved an entire village, halting an ambush before it began, though no one ever knew his name. The villagers saw only shadows fall, and men with rifles drop in the fields. That anonymity was the sniper's curse and his badge of honor, but his final mission had shattered him. An operation gone wrong in Kandahar. A comrade, Elias Ward, his closest friend, cut down before Marcus's scope could find the threat. The guilt had festered like a wound that refused to heal. From that day forward, Marcus carried Elias's dog tags around his neck, their weight heavier than any metal. He swore he would never let silence mean failure again. Now, on this humid riverbank, history threatened to repeat. The SEALs pinned behind fractured cover, outgunned, outflanked, each man waiting for orders that couldn't come. Their radios spat only static. Their commander's voice, moments ago calm, had gone silent. Across the river, unseen rifles snapped. The shooters moved like phantoms, hidden high in canopies and burrows, disciplined and merciless. The young SEALs were fighting courage with confusion. Some whispered prayers, others pressed foreheads against mud, teeth gritted against fear. And in the midst of their desperation, their whispers carried again, "Who's firing? Where's the shooter?" Silence answered them. Then Marcus rose. The sight of him stunned even the SEALs. He had been there all along, submerged in silence, unseen beneath the reeds, his breath timed with the river's current. Hours, maybe days, he had waited. Not as part of their team, not under anyone's orders. He was there because vengeance had led him, and honor had chained him to this place. Marcus's eyes swept the ridgeline, His scope found heat, movement, the faintest flicker of a barrel betraying the enemy's nest. He inhaled slow, steady, as though the jungle itself bent around his lungs. One squeeze, one thunderclap, in silence. A shooter fell. Another breath. Another pull. A second rifle vanished from the tree line. The jungle began to panic. And yet Marcus said nothing. He didn't bark orders, didn't demand recognition. He simply rose higher from the river, each shot an answer to the whispered fears of the seals. One by one, the invisible hands that had pressed death upon them were stilled. Until the jungle, moments ago alive with hostile fire, fell into a stunned and reverent silence. The young seals stared, breaths caught between disbelief and awe. For them, it was as though a ghost of war had risen from water to shield them. Marcus stood waist-deep in the river, rifle steady, eyes unblinking. The enemy broke, retreating into the canopy, their discipline shattered by the one they could not outwit. Marcus did not pursue. He simply lowered his weapon, the river carrying fragments of reeds around him, his body still as stone. And then, with the same silence in which he had come, he turned his gaze upon the seals. Not prideful, not boastful, only a quiet acknowledgement, a soldier's nod that spoke what words could not. You are not alone, not today. From that day, whispers of his return carried among the ranks. And though Marcus himself never sought credit, those who survived repeated his words like scripture. A true warrior does not rise to be seen. He rises when others cannot stand. Silence is not weakness. Silence is patience sharpened into power. The river carries many ghosts, but today it carried an avenger. The seals, hardened though they were, stood in silent respect. Not one dared break the moment with applause or cheers. They simply watched, shoulders squared, eyes fixed on the figure in the river. Some later swore they saw the water ripple differently around him, as if even the current acknowledged his presence. Marcus lifted Elias's dog tags once, pressing them briefly to his lips, before tucking them beneath his shirt again. And without another word, he stepped deeper into the river, vanishing into reeds and current, as though he had never been there at all. But every man present knew what they had witnessed: honor given flesh, silence given strength, sacrifice given voice. Heroes do not always wear medals, nor do they wait for applause. Sometimes they rise from rivers unseen, carrying the weight of battles long past, protecting those too young to know their names. Marcus Hale reminded them, and us, that the truest warriors are often those who whisper when others shout, who stand when others fall, and who vanish when others seek credit. Respect is not owed to noise, but to silent sacrifice. If you felt the weight of Marcus's story, share where you're watching from in the comments below. Tell us what silence means to you. And subscribe for more stories that honor the invisible, the unsung, the men and women whose quiet strength changes everything. Because somewhere tonight, in a river or a desert or a street you'll never see, another silent hero still waits.